Hey guys, back at Harrison101, back at it once again with a brand new video for you, and I'm extremely tired. I've had pretty much no sleep, pulled an all-nighter through to 6 in the morning so I could watch the Australian Grand Prix live on Sky Sports F1, and a cracking race, in case you didn't know already. Warning, this video has a good chance of going out before the rerun does. In case you don't want to know what happened, I'd advise you turn this video off right now. Anyway, as I was saying, Jenson Button wins the Australian Grand Prix with the current reigning world champion Sebastian Vettel second and Lewis Hamilton third. I mean, this was a great way of answering a whole load of question marks about the field, mainly because the qualifying session didn't really answer very many questions. In fact, it made things even more confusing because nobody really knew what kind of race pace any of the teams had in comparison to one another. And it's funny, despite all the confusion, Button pretty much won the race 300 metres after the race started. He overtook Hamilton at the start line and never looked back. He quickly blew out a lead, and Hamilton had to try and chase him down, and he dragged Vettel with him pretty much the whole way. And it was that three-way triangle of the top three guys, and there was a little bit of a gap to everybody else in the field. But one thing I'm going to notice this year is that the midfield, I think, is going to be even tighter this year. I mean, there's going to be so little in it between 4 or 5 of the midfield level teams this year. I'd say Force India, Toro Rosso, Sauber, Williams, Lotus, they're all in the mix for potential top 6 finishes or even better, maybe even podiums, because the midfield is so tight this year and there's so many talented drivers in very good competitive cars. Because as Martin Brundle pointed out during the broadcast, there was great racing up and down the field. Sergio Perez was my driver of the weekend. He was sensational. He started dead last after having to take a 5-place grid drop for changing his gearbox, but he ended up finishing 7th. A superb result from him. Stunning how he made up 15 places like that and scored some good points. At multiple points, he was racing the same kind of pace as the leaders were in the Sauber. So you can't help but think, how competitive are some of these cars? And if the drivers can hook their gear together, they could really challenge for good level points and high finishes. Perez was sensational. Fernando Alonso silenced the doubters about Ferrari. I mean, he had a horrible qualifying stint. They were 12th and 16th, him and Felipe Massa. Off the start, Alonso was up to 8th. Massa was up to, I think, P10. Ferrari, again, keeping up their track record of amazing starts. Alonso ended up finishing 4th, despite constant hounding from Pascal Maldonado, who was pressuring him all the way until the final lap, where he made a driver error, put a wheel on the grass at turn 5 and binned it. Really unfortunate, considering he drove a really hard race, was consistent all the way through, and such an unfortunate end, you know, for what would have been a well-deserved 6th place, or maybe even 5th place. Correction, Alonso actually came 5th, not 4th. My apologies there. But Alonso, once again, is proving why he is pound for pound arguably the best driver in the world, because he keeps turning uncompetitive cars like the Ferrari and drives well above their means. What's different between this year and last year, though, is that there are other guys doing that like Maldonado did this year. Daniel Ricciardo scoring his first points in Formula 1 with a 9th place finish. He scored 2 points. Kobayashi, Paul di Resta, Nico Rosberg. Michael Schumacher probably would have been up there, had a good chance of a podium, and before his car broke down. I think he ran across the grass going wide at turn 1, and his car never really recovered from that, so kind of unfortunate. Romain Grosjean was another unfortunate victim of bad luck. He was quite forcefully overtaken by Pascal Maldonado on the inside in the last sector. There was a clash, and it broke the front suspension on Grosjean's front right tyre, and that put him out of the race, which is such a shame considering he qualified in 3rd place and was looking really strong, even though he had a really bad start too, along with Mark Webber, but he eventually came along in 4th. So the Aussies had a good day out. The Aussie field 4th and 9th, the first time ever in Formula 1 where 2 Australian drivers have scored points in the same race. Another Ferrari concern has to be Felipe Massa. I mean, another rather poor and flat performance from him. It didn't even finish the race after a late clash with Bruno Senna late on, his fellow Brazilian. Not a non-finish. He wasn't going to score any points anyway, and you can't help but get the feeling of I think Simon. The thing as well is that Simon Lazenby, actually, the host of Sky Sports F1, actually hinted, could Ferrari sever the tie with Massa before the end of the season? And I think that's something that Ferrari might have to consider this week, because I've said it before in these videos, but Felipe Massa just seems to have not been the same since this highly unfortunate accident back in 2010. It's just he's lost his killer instinct. I just don't think he's as competitive, and you can't help but get the feeling they could probably do better with a younger, fresher, and more hungry talent at the wheel than Felipe right now. I mean, what Felipe did pretty much last season was anger Lewis Hamilton and clash with him an awful lot, rather than get, great scoring finishes. I mean, he made quali3 every race last season, yet didn't really use the car as well as Alonso did, who kept performing out of his reach. So it kind of makes you have to think what's going to happen there. But Jenson Button wins the day, and once again Lewis Hamilton looks like a miserable arse after the race. I mean, can you blame him? He qualified on pole, had an astonishing pole lap, was pegged at the post and then beaten by his arch rival Sebastian Vettel. Not much to really smile about when you start the race, and at the end of the day you end up with a -2 for position change. So that's kind of unfortunate for him. But I mean, you can see he's trying hard to get his mind back in the right place. I mean, he had Nicole out there. I don't know if he's back with Nicole Scherzinger. If someone knows that, comment below. I'm really not sure. And he had his mum back there again, because the last time he won a race in Abu Dhabi, his mum was there for that one too. So you can see he's trying, but again, just not the best weekend for Lewis, despite it starting out very strong. And didn't I call Jenson Button was going to win the race? I mean, he's just Mr. Consistency right now, and he keeps getting it done. Has anyone ever noticed that Jenson's girlfriend is really hot as well? I think she's like part Japanese or something. She's really cute. It's quite annoying. Anyway, I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of this gameplay. Let me know what you thought of the Australian Grand Prix. I thought it was a cracking race, and did you watch it on Sky or did you watch it on the BBC? Let me know what you think of the BBC coverage. I watched it live on Sky, and I think Sky are doing a very good job, especially if you're new to the sport and if you're a first-time watcher. They're doing a great job of explaining things to the rookies and to the new guys who are watching. The crew generally have been very good. David Croft made a few mistakes, but that's understandable considering how excitable the early action was. Martin Brundle was his usual brilliant self. Damon Hill I really enjoyed as a pundit. I think he's a natural for that kind of role. And while Simon Lazenby was okay as a host, I don't think he's as good a host as Jake Humphrey is. It's his first time doing this kind of thing, and I'm sure I'll get better. So again, let me know what you thought of the coverage and of the race itself. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've been Harrison101. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And sayonara.